All right, I'm back. Michelle again, back. All right, this is February 20th, 2026, and this is Friday, and this is video part 6, I think. Let me look here. Yeah, part 6. So, the last video was a bunch of rambling, but it had a point to it, and the point I'm making is you can only send out a SOS enough times to where it turns into crying wolf, and then what? And so a lot of you are past that crying wolf. You're past it. You are on your own. Okay, you're on your own. And so you're going to have to do everything in your power individually to save yourself. Okay, the boy who cried wolf. Okay, let's see what the metaphor is for that. I think we talked about this yesterday or the day before. So that we're clear, you're past this. It says means to raise a false flag or exaggerate a problem, leading others to disregard future warnings. Okay, a lot of us are drained, literally, figuratively, and metaphorically, and we're tired. And we have a reason to be tired. So anybody coming through and telling us that we ought to not be tired, okay, shut the fuck up, please. Okay, because a lot of you who are saying that, oh, you know, what are y'all tired about? Saying that, okay, you ought to not be tired. Here's some medication to stop you from being tired. No, welcome being tired of this. Okay, and being drawn into these being a third wheel in some of these situations. Okay, I'm talking to those of you who are out there, the innately inclined ones, who are doing everything in your power to help, but you're not gonna step in the middle of shit, and that's not me telling you so. That's the reality of the situation. We know that we're being baited. Okay, being bothered as to, okay, where are we? Minding our own goddamn business. But we know that, if we can help, we would. Okay. We know that because we know if we're eating and everything, if we're at peace, put it that way, everybody will be at peace. And we are at peace. But we're not going to be sitting around waiting for people to snap out of it and figure it out. Some people, you like your indoctrination, apparently. You're comfortable with being indoctrinated. Again, it's that obsession with materialism. You like these nice cars, these nice homes, being able to go to an opera event, to go out and have these nice, fine dining, to go to Davos, DAVOS, to go to this ski slope, to go to that, to go to the moon, to go to Mars, to be allowed to ride on the spaceships. Come on now. But I know a lot of you are miserable, even with all of that. I know a lot of you are despondent, despite all of that. Some of you married into this. Some of you are children, descendants, ancestors, cousins, uncles, whatever. Business associates of all of this. Criminal negative energy. Pastors, preachers. There are some pastors that I know, and I can sense it. They are attempting to find a creative way to get themselves out of this shit that they have consciously or unconsciously. I say you were conscious, but there was greed also that kept you blinded, and that's why you kept carrying on this criminal negative energy. That consisted, like I said, of religion, politics, the military, law enforcement, all these other entities, the CIA, ICE, which is just a form of law enforcement. ICE It's a form of military and law enforcement. And a lot of people in ICE, I can guarantee you, they failed many, many psychological tests attempting to become police officers. Do the research. I can guarantee you a lot of them failed that test. But since there's a good old boy network out there, they kept coddling and, telling them, just keep trying, just keep trying. And so they gave them these cushy positions as high-ranking security guards or high-ranking team leaders or something. They gave them, something was given to those, or the Florida Highway Patrol. Well, I say Florida Highway Patrol, but because I lived in Florida. But the Highway Patrol, whatever state it was always, I don't know if they knew that they were at the bottom of the barrel. Because those guys were cocky and arrogant too. I wonder if they knew that about them, that the law enforcement officers did not see them as genuine law enforcement officers. The Coast Guard, law enforcement officers did not value the Coast Guard as genuine law enforcement. Did you guys know that? Do your research. So there's been this attempt to bait us, to get us to, entice us, temptation, provoke us to get out, and get out and start doing what? Protesting? Are you kidding? Marching the fuck where? Okay, that's expired, by the way, if you had not been told. When those walkers were out there, I think they were Buddhists, walking for peace, I support them, and they have to figure out however they need to figure it out to walk the talk. Okay, so after you've walked, what else is there? And there has to be a continuous building of whatever intentions you have, evolving. Okay, you've walked these thousands of miles, you've talked at each pit stop. Now what? Okay. And I support walking meditation as well. I talked about that. I support it, and I support, there was a book out by this Vietnamese author. I can't pronounce his name. He's well known, and he's the one that helped me to understand walking meditation and just walking in every step, every activity. And then it got reinforced by my current teacher. And, about the importance of meditation, being more about meditation and becoming infused into your activities, washing dishes, talking to you. It's a meditation. I'm grounded. I'm paying attention to my environment. I'm not hallucinating. I'm not in a trance. Okay, I'm not attempting to indoctrinate you. Keep that in mind. So, again, with the people that are sending out these SOS, and I know you're afraid. I know you're scared. I know you're concerned. You don't know what to do. All right, let me give you some tips on what you can do. Excuse me. Whoever you are that's sending out these SOS, that are afraid for your safety, and you are, you're in the consequences. But you've snapped out of it, and you recognize, and you're taking accountability and responsibilities for the errors and mistakes of your ways of thinking. You realize right now you know too much, and you're in danger. You know it, physical danger. You know it. So you're attempting to do whatever you can to send out this SOS to somebody to pick it up and or to resonate with it in order to help you, because you don't know who you can trust. You know that if you attempted to talk to anybody, see, what I would suggest you do is talk to someone you publicly hate, but in the background you have admiration for this person. You actually like this person. You actually care deeply about this person, but you don't make that known publicly, and especially around your friends and your associates. You know that could be life-threatening. You know that. but you admire this person. You find this person is a symbol of who you admire, who you value, who you look up to. Attempt to reach out to that person and meet up in person. Leave the cell phones at home. Do it as we did before cell phones. You know, even before cell phones, I managed to meet up with people without a cell phone, without GPS, without a map. Okay? Be creative. Meet up with someone that you in the public, you claim you hate this person. You know, you've said some derogatory things towards this person or that group or da-da-da-da. And now you want to see how you can creatively reach out to this person and figure out how you can get in a place, I don't know, because, everything's monitored. Everybody's listening. Everybody's watching. Everybody's paying attention to what you're doing, but they're missing a whole lot of things. Have you noticed that? With all of this surveillance, with all of these listening devices on everything, cell phones, laptops, in this studio, listening devices, I know they're listening devices, and all of these electronics, they still miss crucial things, because that's just the state of our consciousness. That's the state of our planet. We have all of this high-tech electronics, but we're still operating like toddlers. And I think toddlers are behaving better. Okay? So reach out to someone of similar like-mindedness, not necessarily, but of similar circumstances. Reach out to them. Figure out how you can work together creatively to save yourself. Physically save yourself. And do not rush to law enforcement right away. I know law enforcement I know they're listening and paying attention, but maybe there's something they can learn too, because there are genuinely good people in law enforcement. I was one of them. So I know there's many others like me. All right, so I'm saying this to the one who is sending out these SOS. Do not immediately run to the law enforcement, okay? Make sure you have documentation of everything. Do not attempt to be a hero, though. Get your ego out of the way. If your ego is in the way and you are lying like everybody else does, performing, pretending, okay, I mean, you are essentially sealing your faith. Your fate, not faith. Your fate. You're sealing it, And let me find another way of saying this. Because sometimes you gotta, even though we have so many words, a lot of them are losing value because we don't really understand it. So it's like, it says here, it means, based from my friends, artificial intelligence. I call them my friends. They are, because they're going to be so involved in our lives that a lot of people are going to, you might as well be neutral about artificial intelligence. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. And that was the whole intention. But this is what they've said here. Seal someone's fate means to make it certain that something bad will happen to that person, or to determine their future in a way that cannot be changed. Okay, it often applies that an action or decision has led to an unavoidable outcome. Oh, so, but I know a lot of you that are sending out this SOS. I can say, well, now you're concerned about your children. Now you're concerned about your descendants. So expect this type of, I say discernment, condensate, whatever. Expect people to, it's like, well, where have you been? These 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, where have you been? And then ask yourself, why now? What happened now? What's different now? So that's the first step I'm going to give you, is to reach out to someone who is of similar fate, F-A-T-E, or understand what you are going through. Publicly, you dislike this person. You're arguing with them back and forth online. You're going back and forth online. You're calling each other's name. You're being disrespectful and carrying on drama. But in the background, you care about this person. You have a lot of moments whereas you wish you could be like them, actually. But but your self-righteousness will not allow you to admit that. And that has a lot to do with self-righteousness, has a lot to do with religion too. Keeping it as a bottleneck. Self-righteousness, know it all. I'm the expert here, that kind of thing. So that's the first thing I'm going to tell you to do. And then I'll come back a little later, because that's going to be very difficult for you. So the first thing to do is figure out first of all, what do you have? Okay, is there any way you can safely seal this all away, put it all away, documentation all the way? You got to figure this out on your own. Get all your documents in order. Get all your evidence, because there's always evidence. Get your evidence in order. And think to yourself, without saying it out loud, without sharing it with anyone, without writing it down, what do you want to do? What are you afraid of? You have to be able to keep all of this in your mind and do not share with anyone. Okay, that's going to be hard enough, and can just do it the best you can. If you happen to write something down, burn it. Safely burn it. Safely. So you can do that. You can safely write everything down. See if you can memorize it. And I'm sure you have it all stored within you. Otherwise, why would you be sending out SOS? The energy of that, because that's what's out there. That's what I'm picking up. So write it down, memorize it, burn it. And then what I'll do is I'll come back at some point where I know that you've done that part, and I'm going to give you a little time. I may put out one more video, because I like to put out 7. 7 is important to me. This is 6, and I may do 7 just to reiterate what I've discussed in the last, the last videos. Okay? I'm going to send peace and love all over the stars and moon and mountains. At the end of the day, it's about universal love, which was always, always inclusive. Talk to you soon.